I'm Kris. You probably know that by now. We are going to do the Decembrists. It's a brand new video, Revolt against the Tsar, from Epic History TV. Before I get started, I want to tell you, today is Monday the 27th. Friday the 24th, I got my second booster, and I got Pfizer. My first two shots were Pfizer. Then I got a Moderna booster in November, got COVID in January, and then I got my booster now, Pfizer. And man, I slept Friday night. I got it at 3:45. I'm sorry, 3:45, and I slept from 7:30 until about 12:30 Friday night, Saturday morning, and then went to bed, and I slept until 6 a.m. I was back asleep by about 9:45 Saturday morning until 4:30, and then I was laying around most of the night. Yes, I shaved. I was laying around most of the night, just like, and then it finally broke around midnight, Saturday night, Sunday morning. I just felt better, but it was just a long ass kicking. But I'm good. But before I start this video, I want to say that I tried a Bud Light Seltzer hard soda. It's a brand new product. No, it's not a sponsor, but I have a 12-pack. This is citrus soda. So instead of a good rum and coke, I have my glass, and I am going to fill this bad boy up. Ooh. They are so good. It's 5% alcohol, 0 sugar, 100 calories, 12-ounce can. Wow. It's got an aftertaste, a slight aftertaste of like a Mountain Dew, but it's got it almost tastes like a margarita lime kind of soda. Oh, this is dangerous. I tried the orange and the cherry. Orange is good. Hey, stop. Orange is good. Cherry tastes smells good. Tastes like a generic cherry. Very faint alcohol taste. They're really good. You're going to make some dangerous decisions by just chugging these bad boys. Oh. Oh, yeah. Yep. We are going to go ahead and get into the video, because I've got a couple of these bad boys to drink. So, like and subscribe. Thanks for all the subscribers recently. I've hit 42 new subscribers this month. My view count is up. In Russia, I'm like 11% now. So I'm big. It's my mother country now, apparently. I'm down to 20% in the US. UK is third. Canada's there. Romania. There's a lot. I find it interesting that all these countries view you. It's just weird. Well, they view me. All right, let's get into the video. Get this out of the way. Oh, go away. Okay.
December 1825. The unexpected death of Emperor Alexander has thrown Russia into confusion. The line of succession had been secretly changed from his brother Constantine to a younger brother, Nicholas. As he struggles to assert his claim to the throne, a secret society of army officers prepares to make its move. Most are veterans of the war.
I apologize, by the way, in my pledge to show you my new alcoholic beverage. I already did the Decembrists. I forgot what it was called. But this sounds like this is like a part 2. So if you're just joining me, there is another video. If I remember, I'll link to it, but probably won't remember. So let's just remember that I'm telling you now that there's another video. So watch that one first. Yep, let's just all remember that together.
Was against Napoleon. Now they want a political revolution in Russia, an end to autocratic government and the abolition of serfdom. The fate of their revolution will be decided in a single day of chaos and violence on the streets of St. Petersburg. They will be known by the month of their uprising, the Decembrists.
Real fast. Oh, yep, okay. The first video, when it ended, I was so disappointed because I thought that was it. I'm so glad there's a part 2, because this was probably one of my top 5, the other one, one of my top 5 videos I did. I was just so interested. It just pulled me in. It was so amazing. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they based a lot of their revolutionary ideas behind the original U.S. government, and I thought that was I just thought that was cool that they would base it off of us. You know, we all base our government off of somebody else. You know, we have a lot of it off of England and stuff like that. I wonder why, but you know, it was just cool. Oh, this is so good.
This video is sponsored by MyHeritage, the world's leading service for family history research and DNA testing. Anyone with an interest in the past will certainly be interested in their own roots and their family's place in history. MyHeritage video.
Sorry, bud.
14th December 1825, St. Petersburg. The Decembrists' Northern Society has...
By the way, Craig, because of you, I'm not eating because I got eating fright now. You're welcome.
Its headquarters at the offices of the Russian-American Company, where one of its key members, Rylev, is a major shareholder. Decembrist leaders have been working feverishly day and night to put everything in place for a coup. Rylev is the chief organizer, despite being unwell. Before dawn, they learn that the new emperor has ordered all troops and officials in the capital to swear an oath of loyalty to him that morning. They must act immediately. Once the troops swear the oath, it will be too late. Most Decembrists are officers in the Life Guards regiments, stationed in St. Petersburg. They plan to tell their men that Nicholas, known and disliked by the troops, is usurping the throne from his brother Constantine, to whom the soldiers swore an oath of loyalty just 17 days ago. There is no plan to involve the Russian people in their revolt. These young aristocrats fear that this would only lead to the bloody chaos of the French Revolution. Instead, they will rely on their social connections and the unquestioning...
So this is kind of a behind-the-scenes power grab, basically.
...trust of the men under their command. They will then use these troops to seize control of the capital, the emperor, and the government. They will form 3 groups. The first will be led by Captain Alexander Yakubovich, a distinguished veteran of the Caucasus War with a reputation for courage. His men will seize the Winter Palace and secure Emperor Nicholas and his family. Some Decembrists want to keep the emperor prisoner, but Rylev secretly entrusts his assassination to 28-year-old Pyotr Kakhovsky, an officer recently retired due to ill health. As a cadet officer in the Life Guards Jaeger Regiment, Kakhovsky had been demoted for rudeness, debt and laziness. He is a loner without friends or money, but dedicated to the cause of liberty, and imagines himself...
Sorry. Okay, sorry.
A slayer of tyrants. A second detachment will be commanded by 32-year-old Colonel Alexander Bulatov, a hero of the Napoleonic Wars and Relève's childhood friend. He's recruited just a few days before the revolt, as the Decembrists seek to involve more senior officers. His unit will seize the Peter and Paul fortress, which contains the city's arsenal and dominates the city centre. Colonel Prince Sergei Trubetskoy has been appointed dictator or leader of the coup. He is another officer of proven courage from a distinguished family. He will command the main force, expected to number nearly 10,000 men, which will assemble in Senate Square.
Stupid question. Is the Peter and Paul fort still around? Just asking. If it is it open to the public, or is it still a used fort? Because that would be pretty cool to tour. Okay, sorry.
Trubetskoy will then enter the Russian Senate and demand that it issues the Decembrists' manifesto to the Russian people. The document announces the establishment of a new provisional government until elections can be held, the freedom of the press and of worship, equality before the law, the introduction of jury trials, and the abolition of serfdom and military settlements. Two well-known and respected politicians, Nikolai Mordvinov and Mikhail Speransky, would lead the new government to provide continuity and reassurance. The Decembrists, drawing on their military experience, have come up with a realistic plan to seize control of the Russian capital. But almost immediately, the conspiracy begins to unravel. On a bitterly cold morning, Kakhovsky and Yakubovich come to Relève's apartments, where the Decembrists have been meeting. Kakhovsky has lost his nerve and is no longer willing to kill the emperor. At the last minute, Yakubovich has also decided he cannot shed the blood of Russian soldiers and refuses to lead troops against the Winter Palace. Bulatov, who is supposed to lead his troops against the Peter and Paul fortress, does not even show up.
Wow.
The Decembrists are in a race against time. There are several Guards regiments in St. Petersburg. They must win over enough of them to secure the capital before the regime understands what's going on and moves against them. But they learn that the Senate and Preobrazhensky Life Guards have already sworn the oath of loyalty to Nicholas. This painting was based on sketches made later by the Emperor himself. It shows the Preobrazhensky Life Guards 1st Battalion arriving at the Winter Palace that morning. It's an act of loyalty for which Nicholas will always be grateful. A battalion of the Moscow Life Guards Regiment comes over to the Decembrists' cause, thanks to the efforts of Captains Shepin Rostovsky, Mikhail Bestuzhev, and his brother Alexander Bestuzhev.
Wow, that's good.
But the regime is moving much faster than expected. Officers loyal to Nicholas, now aware of the unfolding coup, arrange for the Izmailovsky, Semyonovsky, and Pavlovsky Life Guards regiments, and the Life Guards Horse Regiment, to swear the oath to Nicholas.
Lifeguard Horse Regiment just sounds kind of funny to me. I imagine lifeguards as we know it in America, just sitting on top, and they have horses with them. Sorry.
700 men of the Moscow Life Guards Regiment leave their barracks and march through the icy streets to Senate Square. Their rallying cry is, "For Constantine and Constitution." The men of the Moscow Life Guards Regiment take position in Senate Square, near the famous bronze statue of Peter the Great. They are joined by several Decembrist leaders, including Relève and Kakhovsky. Captain Alexander Bestujev ostentatiously sharpens his saber on the base of the statue. Officers and men look resplendent in full dress uniform. But Trubetskoy, the leader of the coup who is to present the Decembrist manifesto to the Senate, is nowhere to be seen. And the members of the Senate have already gone home. Ryleev leaves to find him. Crowds of spectators begin to gather around Senate Square. The general mood is one of support for the Decembrists. This watercolor was painted by Karl Ivanovich Kolman, an eyewitness, and is considered one of the most realistic depictions of the day. Around noon, Count Mikhail Miloradovich, Governor-General of St. Petersburg and a famous war hero, arrives in the square. He rides straight up to the Moscow Life Guards regiment and asks, "Who among you was with me at Kulm, Lutzen and Bautzen?" recalling the great battles against Napoleon. He tells the men they have been lied to, that Constantine has renounced the throne, and they must swear the oath to Nicholas. In Trubetskoy's absence, Lieutenant Prince Yugon Abelensky becomes de facto leader of the Decembrists in Senate Square. He tells Miloradovich to leave, but the general ignores him. Abelensky tries to prick the general's horse with a bayonet to drive him away, but accidentally stabs the general.
Oh my God.
Then Pyotr Kakhovsky steps forward and shoots Miloradovich at point-blank range. The general, mortally wounded, is carried away by his horse. The life...
Okay, so this whole thing kind of turned, didn't it? I'm gonna sense, I'm foreshadowing here, it doesn't work out for the Decembrists. It sounds like they had some great ideas, but when they decided to follow through, they were like, oh, we were serious about all that? That's what I'm getting right now. And then the few that are there, everything's just falling apart.
Guards Grenadier Regiment and sailors of the Guard declare for the Decembrists. They join the Moscow Life Guards in Senate Square. The Decembrists are gathering a powerful, disciplined force of 3,000 troops in the heart of the Russian capital. But Trubetskoy has still not appeared, and there is little leadership. They stand and wait in the freezing cold, while the Emperor begins to mobilize his own forces. Unbeknownst to the men in Senate Square, Prince Sergei Trubetskoy had given up all hope of success early that morning, as soon as he heard that the Senate had sworn its oath to Nicholas. Possibly suffering some form of breakdown, he wanders around the city, at one point passing by Senate Square itself. His brilliant military record makes such behavior difficult to understand. A Decembrist later recalled, "His absence had a decisive influence upon us and the soldiers too, for with few epaulets and no military titles, no one dared take command." Ryleev, meanwhile, exhausted and sick, spends the day in a futile search for Trubetskoy, before he is forced to retire to bed.
Join large-scale battles with military vehicles. The online action game War Thunder has received a major update. Direct Hit. Joining the battle are machines...
I wonder what made him just break down all of a sudden. The man's seen combat. So, what would make him freak out? Maybe it was the thought that he was overturning, committing a coup, seizing power. Maybe it was something like that where he kind of panicked. Maybe because the one guy didn't show up, everyone else was there. Maybe he just assumed that this was our shot. We shot our shot by not even shooting our shot. You know what I'm saying? We came up with a good plan. We screwed the whole thing up by not believing we could do it. Meanwhile, the underlings never got that memo. And they're going about it thinking, okay, this is what we were told to do. Failure starts at the top. And this is looking like it was a complete failure. By the way, this soda is delicious too. I didn't finish all of my seltzer, so I've got a slight seltzer taste. And I'm starting to feel it. And it is delicious. And I'm sad that I only have the 2 cans here. But I have water. The Lord would want me to drink water after.
The crowd is now several thousand strong, and their loyalties clearly lie with the Decembrists.
So good.
Some policemen and patrols are even attacked by civilians. When Emperor Nicholas arrives, he and his entourage are pelted with sticks and stones. But Guards units loyal to the government are arriving at Senate Square in force. And take up positions surrounding the rebels. Soon they outnumber the Decembrists 3-1, though not all are willing to fire on their comrades. In fact, Isaac's bridge is deliberately obstructed by troops of the Finnish Life Guards Regiment, whose sympathies lie with the Decembrists. Others, such as General Orlov, are outraged by the Decembrists' actions. He orders his Guards cavalry to charge the rebels. His men are pelted with stones and timber thrown by the crowd, and the rebels stand firm. Some shots are fired, a few men are hit, and the cavalry withdraw.
What is it with in those days, and this isn't a Russian thing, it happened during the American Civil War. What the hell is it with the crowd sticking around? By the way, I really like this painting. I'm looking at this bearded gentleman right here looking at me. You know what? You can't see it, but right in front of where his face is on the screen, right around here, is where my beverage is, just off to the side of my monitor. And it looks like that man is eyeing my drink. Of course, this son of a bitch right here is too. Goddamn beverage thieves. All of you. What is it, though, with people like... We don't do that now, I hope. But when things start happening, people are just like... For the Russians, or... not the Russians, but any of the Russians who are watching this video, people in the UK, during the American Civil War, the very first battle, Battle of Bull Run, as it's called, or Manassas... Battle of Manassas, Battle of Bull Run. It's known as both. People from the north, the Union side, spectators, traveled down into Virginia where this battle took place following the Union soldiers and had a goddamn picnic watching the fight, figuring the Union forces are going to run over these rebels. Well, the Confederates won. So those people sprawled out on the grass, having a picnic with binoculars, watching the battle take place, goddamn morons, were in a panic as they started gathering their things and realized, oh, the Confederates are overrunning the rebels, overrunning the Union, because now the Union soldiers are running back to Washington scared because they're going to die. Oh, we better do that too. So they took off running. So I'm not looking at the people who were involved in all that, because they were sympathizers and whatnot. But what the hell is it with people doing this? Like, don't go there. Don't risk being killed. And this goddamn kid right here, he's eyeing my drink too. We got to get off this painting, sons of bitches. I got to guard my beverage.
Several cavalry charges are made that afternoon, with no decisive outcome, and just a handful of casualties.
Okay.
Still, no Decembrist officer takes charge of the situation. There seems to be no plan at all. It is -10 Celsius, and their men have been standing motionless for hours.
I'm sorry. I'm a Fahrenheit man myself. I apologize. -10 Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay, so that's 14 degrees Fahrenheit. Which, for people who don't know, it's goddamn cold. I had to check.
Commander of the Lifeguards Grenadier Regiment, Colonel Nikolai Sturler, arrives to order his men back to barracks. Kachowski shoots him, inflicting another fatal wound.
What are we doing, guys?
The metropolitan bishops of St. Petersburg and Kiev approach the troops and tell them it is their Christian duty to swear the oath to Nicholas. But they are mocked and chased away. The Emperor is deeply alarmed by the situation in Senate Square, though many comment on his calm demeanor. He later confides to his younger brother, "The most amazing thing about this story is that you and I were not shot."
Wow.
The short winter day is ending. Nicholas fears that if the standoff continues into the night, the crowds will turn hostile. He now has 32 guns of the Guards' artillery at his disposal. He sends General Sukhozanet to tell the rebels to lay down their arms, or they will be fired upon. It's a bad choice of emissary. Sukhozanet is despised by the troops. They tell him to get lost.
Oh, okay.
As dusk falls, the guns are wheeled forward. The first volley is blank rounds. The next is fired over the heads of the rebel troops, but hits several people in the crowd.
Oh my God.
The troops stand firm. The next volley of grape shot is fired directly into their packed ranks. Scores go down.
I just have to say, I love these paintings. I'm not a person who likes paintings, but these paintings are awesome. Just look at the bridge. Look how packed the bridge is. Oh, God. This is... I would hang this up in my house. I'd have, given the things that are happening recently with America and Russia, it would be a little weird. I'd be like, oh, this is Revolt against the Tsar. What the hell do you have a Russian painting for? Well, you didn't see the video. Yeah, it's not a good sign when cannons get turned on people. I'm sorry for pausing so much. It just, I really enjoy this. And the alcohol is helping me enjoy the video a little more. So I apologize for that. God damn. But I really have to point out, I love these paintings. Have I just developed... Am I a painting snob now? Have I just... Is this my new thing? Screw history, give me paintings of history?
Under this murderous fire, the troops break ranks and head out onto the frozen Neva River. Mikhail Bestuzhev tries to organize them for an attack on the Peter and Paul fortress, little more than 1,000 meters away across the ice.
No.
But as they form up, they come under more artillery fire. Cannonballs smash the ice. Many drown.
Oh my God.
The rest escape as best they can. After a standoff lasting several hours, the military revolt has been ruthlessly crushed by Russia's new emperor. The official death toll is just 80. Eyewitnesses claim it is much higher.
Look at the detail down here with the blood. And I'm thinking this is the same painting as earlier. I just didn't pay attention. Wow.
The Decembrist leaders, who all survived the bloodshed in Senate Square, are rounded up and arrested that night and the following day.
I could really go for some tortilla chips right now, Craig. But I can't, can I? Okay.
The Decembrist uprising in St. Petersburg is over. The revolt in the south has yet to begin.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
13th December 1825. Tulchin, Ukraine. The day before the St. Petersburg Revolt, Pavel Pestel, leading figure of the Southern Society, is denounced by one of his officers and arrested.
I love his name.
The Southern Society's plans for an uprising are thrown into chaos. Sergei Muravyov-Apostol takes over as leader. He receives news of the disastrous uprising in St. Petersburg, but decides to go ahead with the planned rising in the south. On the 29th of December, he is arrested himself, but quickly freed by fellow officers. The next day, he leads 2 companies of the 29th Chernigov Regiment into Vasilkov, where they seize money, weapons, ammunition and supplies. 3 more companies, more than 400 men, join the rebels. The next morning, a revolutionary manifesto, written by Muravyov-Apostol and Lieutenant Mikhail Bestuzhev-Ryumin, is read out to the troops. In the question and answer form of a religious catechism, the document calls for an uprising to end autocracy, serfdom and conscription. Question: what does our holy law order the Russian people and army to do? Answer: to repent of our lengthy servitude and stand against tyranny and wickedness, vowing that in heaven and on earth there shall be only one emperor, Jesus Christ. By the 1st of January, Muravyov-Apostol leads a force of 17 officers and 1,100 men. He attempts to march on Zhytomyr to link up with units of the 8th Infantry Division, whose officers are sympathetic to the Decembrist cause. But his route is blocked by government forces. Then, on the 3rd of January, at Ustimovka, his force is intercepted by troops under General Geismar.
Quick question, sorry. I'm eating beef jerky now, sorry. Wow. Did the Southern group get found out because the Northern group, because of what happened? And the Southern group just started later? Is that why the people got arrested? They kind of found out? Or did I just miss what he just said? I apologize. Panda, you'll know. You tell me.
Muravyov-Apostol hopes the opposing troops will join him. Instead, they open fire with grape shot. Then the hussars charge. A few men are killed, but most quickly surrender. 895 men and 6 officers are taken prisoner.
The flag, it looks like 2 bunny ears, a bunny face, and then bunny shoulders. You ever seen, if you're an American, yes you probably have, anyone else you haven't, the movie, American movie, A Christmas Story. It's played every Christmas. What's the kid's name again? Oh my gosh. Red Ryder. If you're an American, you'll know exactly what I mean. The Red Ryder BB gun kid. I cannot think of his name now. Anyways, his aunt gives him the Christmas gift of the bunny. That's what it reminds me of. He's that bunny. That looks like the bunny costume. I apologize. I'm not disrespecting the flag. I'm just saying, if you haven't seen that movie, woo! Hot beef jerky. If you haven't seen that movie, that is a movie you should watch out of respect for just comedy.
Including Muravyov-Apostol, who is badly wounded. His brother, Hippolyte, and another Decembrist officer, Anastasy Kuzmin, take their own lives to avoid capture.
Wow.
The Decembrist uprising in the south is over, crushed in just 5 days.
It didn't even get started. My whole story is, in a few words, I loved my fatherland passionately. I desired heaven as
In St. Petersburg, the Decembrist leaders are interrogated by Emperor Nicholas in person before they are sent to the Peter and Paul fortress. The Emperor gives instructions on how each prisoner is to be treated, whether they are to be kept in shackles and treated severely or more gently. He despises them all. Trubetskoy he describes as a repellent example of an ungrateful scoundrel. Nicholas sets up a commission to investigate the plot and its origins. 579 suspects are arrested and subjected to repeated interrogations, long periods of solitary confinement, hunger and cold, or feigned sympathy. Many confess freely, revealing details of secret societies and names of co-conspirators. A few resist defiantly. Colonel Bulatov, who was to have led the attack.
Something that was said in Zero Dark 30. Everyone breaks. It's just biology. You can't take it out over the long period. Everyone breaks. It is what it is. You may give up fake names, but repeated torture, repeated sleepless nights and all these things, they wear on you. And you just give up. It is what it is.
On the Peter and Paul fortress is so racked by guilt that he kills himself in his cell. There are no trials as such. 5 months later, the commission returns its verdicts to the emperor. 290 are acquitted, 289 are guilty, with 121 judged to be the greatest offenders. A supreme criminal court is formed to carry out sentencing, according to 11 categories of guilt, devised by Mikhail Speransky, the man the Decembrists had hoped would lead their new government.
Oh, wow.
Those found guilty of minor crimes are demoted and sent to fight in Russia's long-running war in the Caucasus, along with the regiments that joined the Decembrists.
That's another awesome painting. What is it with me and paintings all of a sudden? I'm sorry.
31 of the Decembrists found guilty of the most serious crimes: conspiracy, rebellion, desiring the emperor's death, are to be executed by beheading.
Oh, gee, oh yeah.
But Nicholas shows mercy and commutes their sentence to hard labor for life in Siberia. Before they depart, officers are stripped of their rank and noble privileges and ceremonially disgraced. Their greatcoats are burned, their swords snapped in half. This is the punishment handed out to Nikita Muravyov, who drafted the Northern Society's constitution for a new liberal Russia, and to Prince Sergei Trubetskoy, the Decembrists' vanishing leader, whose life is only spared because of his family name.
Had he showed up, regardless of the other 3 people, had he showed up, do you think, and this is, I guess, more for the Russian audience, do you think things would have changed? Do you think that more people would have been on the Decembrist side? Or do you think the outcome would have probably still been the same? It's kind of a what-if question, which is, it's really impossible to answer, and I understand it's an impossible question to answer, but it's a what if. And with that, do you think that your government would be better with a I don't want to say an American style, because there are several different countries. It's not an American style, because it's not like we came up with a system, and a lot of other countries kind of copied it in a way, but they added their own flair to it. They added their own things to the whole system. Had to burp, didn't want to mute it. Do you think that your system might have been better? Would have been worse? What would have been the trajectory of it? Do you think that eventually there could have been another coup that would have overthrown it and you would be back into the system you're in now? Like, these are things that I'm very curious about. And oh my God, there's 7 minutes left, and I apologize. I have muted this bad boy so many times.
5 Decembrists will not be spared. Piotr Kachowski, Sergei Muravyov-Apostol,
Yeah.
Mikhail Bestuzhev-Ryumin,
Yep.
Pavel Pestel, and Kondraty Ryleyev. A public death for the chief instigators and conspirators will be their lawful revenge for disturbing the public peace, Nicholas writes to members of the commission.
Yeah.
All 5 are sentenced to death by quartering,
Holy
a brutal
shit.
punishment involving public dismemberment.
Oh my God.
God and the sovereign have decided my fate. I must die, and die a shameful death, Ryleyev writes in a final letter to his wife. Pray to God for my soul.
Oh my God. The tactics of revolution may be summed up in 2 words: to dare. If we come to grieve our failure, it will serve as a lesson to those who come after us. If we come to grieve our failure, will serve as a lesson to those who come after us. If we come to grieve our failure, will serve as a lesson. I'm not understanding that part. Yeah, that doesn't quite make sense to me. If you grieve your failure, then other people, I don't understand that second part. I do like the first part, the tactics of revolution, summed in 2 words: to dare. Yeah, to dare to follow through with your plan, especially. Unless he's saying to grieve means to mourn, means that you'll never try again. So don't ever think that you can't try again to overturn your government. Is that what I'm getting out of it? Or is the alcohol talking to me? I don't know.
13th July 1826. Nicholas commutes the sentence to hanging. But the execution of the 5 Decembrists by the ramparts of the Peter and Paul fortress is badly botched. As the men are hanged, ropes break, and 3 men fall to the ground. What a miserable country. They can't even hang us properly, remarks one survivor.
Oh my God.
Spectators appeal for mercy. According to tradition, a man who survives a hanging should be spared. Instead, more rope is found, and the second time, there is no mistake. More than 80 Decembrists were eventually sent to Siberia. A few were accompanied by their wives, who voluntarily renounced their own noble privileges to be with their husbands. Conditions in Siberia were not as extreme as might be imagined. Their hard labor was mostly farm work. Wealthy prisoners were sent money from home, which they used to buy supplies. For active young men, boredom was the greatest enemy. They took up hobbies, played chess, painted. These watercolors were painted by Nikolai Bestuzhev, who on the 14th had led the Imperial Guard sailors to Senate Square. Some formed their own academy, sharing their knowledge and going on to teach local children and set up schools. They remained hopeful of a pardon, but it proved a 30-year wait. Only in 1856, after the death of Emperor Nicholas, was an amnesty announced for surviving Decembrists. Among them, Prince Sergei Trubetskoy, who returned to Russia and is seen here, photographed in 1857.
Oh, wow.
The Decembrist uprising seemed to have been a total failure. A wildly optimistic operation, poorly planned, chaotically executed, doomed from the beginning. The loss of life, thoughtless and unnecessary. But the Decembrists had mounted the first organized political revolt in Russian history. As such,
I'm gonna, and I don't know anything about this, I'm just going by what I remember, and the alcohol is certainly talking to me. I didn't think it was poorly planned. I thought the idea was decent, and I'm sure I'm wrong. It was a failure to follow through, though. Abstract failure. I think they were... Yeah, actually, you know what? It was a failure. I think the idea... Okay, this is for guys. This is for single guys. This is for guys in your 20s, or late teens, early 20s. You're at a bar, you're at a party, right? You're with a bunch of people that you know. And just bear with me, I'm trying to, this is how it just hit me in my head. Sorry, that was my knuckles. Okay. You're at a party. This is a good example. You're with your friends. You see an extremely hot girl she comes into the party. She's wearing, and I am flashing back to a moment in my life, she is wearing spandex. Let's just say it's very tight spandex that looks like leopard print. All right, this happened. She is wearing a spandex top that is like a leopard print top. Not that I'm giving, example of an identical example of something of my life, but just bear with me. I almost forgot where I was going with this. Just bear with me. The idea, that's what it was. The idea of all this. So I look, it's not me. What are you talking about? You're with your friend. All right, look, it's me in this moment. I apologize. I look at this woman and I think, oh my God, she's hot. She has an amazing body. Everything about this girl is fantastic. I could see myself marrying this woman. I could see myself having kids with this woman, settling down, living out the life. Life is beautiful, right? But the follow-through to this plan, this ideal life that I've just set up in my head of us living together, enjoying life, going on vacations, raising children, right? This whole concept, it's here. The follow-through starts with me going up to this woman and asking her out. And I'm like, looking around this party, looking at all these guys who have no shirts on, and they're drunk, and they're like frat guys. And I'm looking around, frat guys or college guys. And I'm looking around going, yeah, I don't think I have a chance here. So this little thing is going to exist up here. And I think that's what this plan was. And I understand it was a long-winded answer. This whole idea was something that in their mind sounded so good. But once they started putting it on paper, they were like, ooh, huh. And then once they started following through, they were like, yep, it wasn't as glorious as we thought it would be. And I think that the idea was good, the follow-through was terrible. And obviously it's not me in that story. I'm just, because, I would have walked over to her and been like, hey, toots, get over here. And she'd have been like, okay. Yep, I missed my shot on that one. You know what? I didn't have a shot on that one, and I knew it. But that's... I apologize. I just had to say that.
Their impact would prove far-reaching. The recent conspiracy, wrote the British resident minister in St. Petersburg, failed from want of management and want of a head to direct it, and was too premature to answer any good purpose. But I think the seeds are sown, which one day must produce important consequences. Emperor Nicholas was never interested in reform. The issues of serfdom and a constitution would be around for decades to come. For those who took up the cause of reform, including Russia's liberal intelligentsia and future revolutionaries, the Decembrists were an inspiring example of action in the face of tyranny. The father of Russian socialism, Alexander Gertsen, was their great champion. He named his political journal Polar Star, after Ryleev's own. On the cover of its first edition, the 5 Decembrist martyrs. In time, the Decembrists' aims, the abolition of serfdom, a constitution, even the overthrow of the Tsar, were achieved. But their brand of 19th century liberalism was soon overtaken by events in Russia. The communists never completely approved of the aristocratic Decembrists.
So more than likely, if the Decembrists had succeeded in 1825, by the time Lenin had come around, it probably would have changed anyways, is what I'm thinking. Is that Stalin on the left? Looks like a pimp. Looks like if he takes his hand out, he's going to have to smack a woman.
Though in 1925, they did allow Senate Square to be renamed
That's a beautiful
Decembrist Square.
That's another beautiful painting.
Square, to mark the 100th anniversary of the Rising.
Oh, wow.
But the Decembrists' place in Russian history remains highly contested to this day. A 2019 Russian blockbuster film was accused of trivializing the Decembrists and their aims. Others called for the film to be shown in schools. While in 2008, the St. Petersburg Square where the Decembrists made their famous stand was renamed again, back to Senate Square.
I want to see that movie. I was just going to say, this should be a movie made of this. And I know there is a movie, but obviously America should make a movie. That way I could see it, because I can't see the Russian version. And if America makes a version, you know, we'll put American spin on it somehow.
The Decembrists continue to serve as a warning to some, an inspiration to others. All that is certain is the Decembrists have not been consigned to history just yet.
This is a goddamn good video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it, because my alcohol really allowed me to enjoy it more. And I've got... I got nothing left now. Papa needs a new drink. Oh, this was fun. This is a good video. And obviously it wasn't me that was approaching the woman in the skin tight. There was just a, because you guys know me, how totally I'd walk over and she'd be like, yep, it was me. Yep, there's no line about it. Okay, well, like and subscribe. I'm going to cut this video short because I've made this a longer video than it needs to be, but god damn it, this is a good one. If you're one of the Russian followers that I have you seen that Decembrist movie? Is it any good? Do you hate it? Do you hate the idea of the Decembrists? Like, what's going on there? Anyways, I'm going to end this video here because it's been kind of long and I need to get some more alcohol in me. I'm going to do another video tonight. So have a good day, have a good night. Thanks for watching. And have a good day, have a good night.